Pew, 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 pew. Pauska power. Formula. Pew, pew. And then we go. God damn it. Should I care? No. Let's see if we go back here. Then we go. Yes. Okay, so. Oh shit. We have why is it so loud? Was it just loud for me? The race have made apparently what audio major change of plans means for the 2026 F1 entry. And if I would guess, it will be about they will buy Sauber 100%, but I don't know how much that will change anything. Maybe it will, or hopefully the race will explain why it's a major change. And will be probably doing nothing so much interesting in Minecraft, or I would say it's more interesting than just mining. But yeah, so let's see what fun the race have done.
Audi's made a big decision for its 2026 F1 entry that will be critical for sparking life into the underperforming team it's taken.
Hey, maybe. But I would say I wouldn't wanna put in so much money when they have sold out this much to stake and kick.
Taking over. After persistent speculation that Audi's commitment to its first ever Works F1 program is wavering, the German manufacturer has now proved the opposite is true. Audi's going all in, buying 100% of Sauber in what it calls a bid to
what I said, 100%, but okay.
Accelerate the preparations for 2026. This is a victory for Sauber CEO and new Audi F1 team CEO Andreas Seidel, who has been pushing for more support from Audi sooner to make the changes he believes are necessary to achieve its goals from 2026 onwards. Remember, when Audi's plan to enter F1 was announced in 2022, it claimed it wanted to be very competitive within 3 years, and that basically means fighting for victories. The change of plan to completely take over Sauber should also finally put an end to the claims that various high-profile departures from Audi and its parent Volkswagen Group could derail.
Okay, so that, I mean, they could change some. The leadership is still wanna be in Formula 1.
The project entirely. After the exits of ex-Audi CEO Markus Duesmann and ex-VW Group chairman Herbert Diess, two backers of the project, another significant figure was rumoured to be on his way out, Oliver Hoffmann. He was part of the Audi leadership team that was front and centre at the official announcement of Audi's F1.
I mean, it's almost like the Honda. New leadership don't want to be in Formula 1. Or the old leadership don't want to be in Formula 1. And then when the new leadership arrives, they just, maybe we still want to be in Formula 1. And then you have what happened. They leave Red Bull to join Aston Martin because Ford was faster with the
plans
Red Bull.
Way back at the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix. The suggestion was that he was leaving Audi too, and he kind of is, but that isn't the full story, which we'll get to a little later. The main point to understand for now is that once again a lot of noise has emanated from misunderstandings or misrepresentations of what's really been happening behind the scenes. And the big news there is that Audi's F1 plan has changed, but for the better.
God damn it. Oh, we can skip it. Hi.
Audi had originally agreed to buy 75% of Sauber, with existing owner Finn Rausing retaining 25% of the company. Audi's plan was to scale up its involvement in the race team based in Switzerland, while simultaneously working intensively on its first ever F1 engine in Germany. Its role in Sauber's improvement as a team both at the track and at its Hinwil base was set to be relative to its gradual increase in its share of the team, starting at 25% in 2023, 50% this year and 75% next year. That would essentially limit exactly how much influence Audi had and how much it would invest. And as Rausing wasn't putting anything extra in, Seidel spent the year after joining Sauber in January 2023 pushing Audi to do more. Seidel took that role with the intention of running Audi's F1 team in the future, and he knows that time is of the essence to get the team at a suitable level of performance for 2026, and we'll get into its concerning current on-track form in a moment. Sauber is still a lot smaller than other F1 teams as a result of its near collapse in the 2010s, and has required plenty of investment in personnel and infrastructure that is still ongoing. The decision to take a 100% stake in Sauber has been framed specifically as a plan to accelerate the preparations for the start of the 2026 season, so it's more than just a corporate technicality like needing outright ownership rather than a majority share. It's geared towards exactly what Seidel has been pushing for, and should allow Audi to take advantage of things like the increased capital expenditure limits it has within the cost cap. The old limit that applied equally to all teams across 4-year periods has been increased at different rates depending on the size of the team. Sauber's in the group of teams that now has the most money to spend over the relevant 4-year period.
Man, this is a problem when you have lava just open like this is. Sometimes you mine up so water falls down, well, it flows down, and it ruins everything. But it didn't, luckily.
It's up to the end of 2028. This will let Audi spend more money than rival manufacturers like Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault to address the deficit in infrastructure that Sauber has before the capex limit is reset equally across all teams for the 4-year period covering 2026 to 2029. Another break is about to come in the form of a currency adjustment in the cost cap that will take into account different costs of living in different countries, with Switzerland being among the highest. This will allow Audi to recruit personnel it might otherwise miss out on by not being able to offer competitive salaries relative to, say, the UK, where 7 teams are based. Audi Supervisory Board Chairman Manfred Doss called the F1 entry as big a sporting challenge as it is a financial commitment, and now we know a bit more about how Audi will run things. As we mentioned previously, Seidel becomes CEO of the Audi F1 team with responsibility for the implementation of the F1 project, which means managing the team and being its public face. Meanwhile, Hoffmann will take overall responsibility of the programme, as well as becoming chairman of the board of the Sauber companies. So remember that rumour we mentioned that Hoffmann...
Oh, so maybe we'll see him in a steak kick Sauber clothes.
was leaving Audi, spun as the F1 programme,
or steak Formula 1 team kick Sauber.
I'm losing another key figure. Well, his new role means he steps down as a member of the board of management of Audi itself, but he's not only staying involved in the F1 entry, he'll be in charge of the whole thing. In simple terms, it appears that Seidel will be the most senior day-to-day figure for the F1 team itself, while Hoffmann takes a broader role that will also include responsibility for the engine project at Neuberg and Audi's marketing strategy. The engine facility is housed where Audi's Dakar, Formula E, DTM and Le Mans cars have all been built since 2014. This has been expanded, the simulator's been updated, an all-new 3,000 square metre building for the engine dynos built, and hundreds of personnel recruited. Adam Baker, an experienced F1 and wider motorsport engine project leader and FIA safety director, has been CEO of the company running the Audi engine programme known as Audi Formula Racing. He'll stay in that role, reporting to Hoffmann. Audi constantly referred to it as bundling Hoffmann's responsibilities together, which...
Ooh. So we will maybe see these people probably 2026. It will be weird if they actually wanna show their face with steak, Formula 1 team kick Sauber t-shirt or clothes.
To be honest, felt like a very un-Audi word, and that wasn't the only way some of these specifics were communicated that provided a slightly amusing insight into how Audi's been talking about F1. When Seidel moved to Sauber from McLaren in the winter of 2022-2023, he did so with exactly this kind of eventual Audi F1 responsibility in mind. We all knew it, but it was framed as a Sauber move and nothing to do with Audi. All because nobody wanted the team to be seen as Audi before 2026, partly as Audi only wants its team to be recognised in its name when it provides both car and engine.
Yeah. Exactly what I mean. Why do you really want to show anything about Audi when the car, first of all, is bad, and then with all of the sponsor they have now?
And partly because of commercial sensitivities while Sauber was running under the Alfa Romeo name. But even though the Alfa era is now over, Audi's doubled down on framing Seidel's role as F1 team CEO as a completely new appointment. Hoffman called Seidel exactly the right man for our ambitious plan, and was even quoted as saying he was pleased we were able to secure Seidel's services. It just frames it as something brand new and almost out of the blue, and it's quite amusingly stereotypical of a German company that has to go through a million different boards and advisory boards and processes and channels before any decision is officially official. The bizarre corporate approach and language around this since the start is also why we hear Sauber's managing director and the F1 team's official representative Alessandro Aluni Bravi talk about doing things according to the company governance about 40 times a weekend. If you need evidence of why Audi needs to intensify its preparations for 2026, just look at how difficult the start of 2024 has been for Sauber. Although Zhou Guanyu came close to a point in Bahrain, finishing 11th, the Sauber C44 has yet to reach Q2 and is the second slowest car on average, only ahead of struggling Alpine. The team
No, and that's nothing to celebrate, being better than Alpine.
actually feels this car is working significantly better
Man, that Haas got the point instead of Visa Cash App, RB, Formula 1 team, or Williams. That's
than its troubled predecessor, has improved in
So
fast
the
corners,
first thing.
giving the drivers more confidence, and is less draggy. But it has proved difficult to get the tyres working for a qualifying lap. The car has shown decent race pace at times, notably with Zhou in Bahrain, although in Saudi Arabia he was limited by having to lift and coast throughout the race thanks to a cooling problem arising from the rapid repair job after his FP3 crash. In that race, Valtteri Bottas struggled massively on the hard C2 Pirellis. That, combined with the qualifying issues, suggests it is one of those cars that is gentle on its tyres in a race, but also doesn't work them hard enough to get up to temperature in certain conditions. Pit stops have also been a problem. The team upgraded its pit stop equipment this year with the expectation of faster turnarounds, but cross-threaded wheel nuts have led to two disastrously long pit stops this year for Bottas in Bahrain and Zhou in Saudi Arabia. Head of Trackside Engineering Jevi Pujolar says changes will be made for the Australian Grand Prix to fix this problem. Despite the issues, the pace of the Sauber appears to be strong enough to be competitive in the group of 5 teams at the back in F1, but it is essential that it unlocks more single lap pace to be able to qualify better. If Sauber can do that and get its pit stop sorted, then all is not lost for this season, given the car appears to be fundamentally quick enough to run on the periphery of the top 10. That's not saying much for what's about to be the Audi Works team, but realising the existing potential is the bare minimum in the meantime. Then Audi will be banking on its increased involvement, raising the ceiling much higher. While the major pieces are now being put in place for Audi, one very big unknown is what the driver lineup will be. It would be a surprise if the current pairing of Bottas and Zhou is retained for 2025, let alone beyond that. Bottas has an eye on it and can't be discounted, but Zhou's affability and appeal with the Chinese market that's important to Audi can only take him so far.
I mean, if I would bet some money, or if I will, I mean, do you want, I feel like keeping Jürgen Joe will net you positive in the long run than keeping Bottas.
Neither is to blame for the team's underwhelming 2023 and limp start to 2024, but they aren't the kind of A-list drivers a brand like Audi will want. But there aren't really that many of those drivers available, and those that aren't necessarily going to see this team as their number one pick. The race winners that are out of contract for 2025 and or 2026 are Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo and Bottas. For podium finishers, add Alex Albon and Lance Stroll to the list. But the competition for most of those drivers' services will be fierce. The vacancies for 2025 and or 2026 include drives at Red Bull, Mercedes and Aston Martin, all of which will be ahead of Audi on most drivers' wish lists. The likes of Alonso, Sainz, Perez, Hülkenberg, Ocon and Albon will all be shopping around, but with different levels.
Okay, let's see. Drivers in sight. Leading free agents. I don't believe in Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg. Oh my God.
Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Daniel...
No, maybe Ricciardo. I mean, I think Carlos Sainz is the biggest,
Ricciardo and
more likely.
Bottas. For podium finishers, add Alex Albon and Lance Stroll to the list. But the competition for most of those drivers' services will be fierce. The vacancies for 2025 and or 2026 include drives at Red Bull, Mercedes and Aston Martin, all of which will be ahead of Audi on most drivers' wish lists. The likes of Alonso, Sainz, Perez, Hülkenberg, Ocon and Albon will all be shopping around, but with different
I mean, they can, but will they? Probably not.
levels of availability. If Alonso wants to keep racing, for example, he'll be holding out for something more proven, like a Mercedes drive or the Red Bull seat should that team's ongoing off-track troubles create a sudden opening. But if neither path opens up, then even staying with his current Aston Martin team would probably be more appealing than rolling the dice on Sauber and Audi.
Like maybe rolling the dice for Mercedes.
At the other end of the spectrum, a perennial midfielder like Hülkenberg would be less averse to committing to a sideways move back to Sauber in 2025 if it came with a guaranteed Audi contract for 2026 and ideally longer. Hülkenberg is on Audi's radar. Seidel is a fan and already courted him for 2024, but has activated an option on Hülkenberg's contract for a second year. Ferrari exile Sainz is another of Seidel's preferred targets. He's been on the radar for a year or so and is a more realistic option now that he knows for sure he's out of Ferrari at the end of 2024. There will be other teams interested in a proven Grand Prix winner like him though, so it may depend on whether or not Sainz covets an Audi seat enough. The same goes for Albon and Ocon, who have proven themselves quite high achieving drivers in low achieving teams and who would both be a better long term bet than Hülkenberg. Something like a Sainz-Albon combination might well be as good as Audi can hope for, which would be a fast and dependable pairing and certainly stronger than what Sauber has now. But simply being the Audi Works team guarantees nothing because of Sauber's current form and its recent history. That's why Audi must strengthen its own sales pitch rather than rely on its targets being low enough priorities for other teams to still be available. A full Audi takeover and the prospect of accelerated progress is absolutely critical to that.
Okay, let's see. What did they go through? The change plan, yeah, buying it 100%. Who's who's running? What? Apparently he will be still there, he will be the big boss, and someone else boss over the engine. Why it is necessary. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the value change, the plan was always to buy them. How they bought them is maybe the difference. Instead of just 75%, they go 100%. They skip just one step. I wouldn't say that's a value change for sure. Drivers inside, yeah, sure. I mean, I would say just Carlos Sainz is the most likely to go to Audi. But yeah, but we could do something more interesting. Oh shit, we need to sleep. I found a clip that maybe could be interesting to watch. Eller watch, maybe more listen. And it's Laurent Mekies, so he from Formula 1, Formula 1. He's from Ferrari. And he's talking apparently on the Ricardo, Tsunoda and the Orbis mission. So this is before the first race. So probably only good stuff will be mentioned now.
Welcome everybody to this week's F1 Beyond the Grid. I'm delighted to say that we're joined by RB team principal Laurent Mekies. Laurent, lovely to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tom. Very, very nice feeling to be with you in that new role.
Now, I've known you a long time, and you've had some very senior jobs in your career, some very interesting ones. But what about this one, team principal?
You know, it's.
Man, I hope they have a. They and Williams, I really hope for have a good good year, getting lots of points and stuff. Alpine and Haas and Stake Formula 1 team Kick Sauber. They can just be in the trash.
It's very different compared to anything I've been doing before. I think the biggest difference is actually not linked to the job title. The biggest difference is that we are talking about a new team, and I know it's a special new team which comes with a fantastic history, but the way the whole project is set up is, okay, you guys are going to go and get this new team to that target in the shortest time possible, and we are super lucky because we have all the talented people of Faenza and Bister and so forth and so on. But the biggest new element is that you look at it as if it was a brand new team.
Right, let's talk more about that, Laurent, because I think some people listening to this, watching this, will think, no, this team has been around since 2005, and as Minardi before that as well. So what do you mean by it being a new team?
Well, there is
Oh my god, maybe some nostalgic stuff. Bring up Minardi with him.
There is different aspects. First, I think France and the teams, they have done an amazing job in the last 15 years. Not to mention.
I was wondering, what do you mean with France? I mean, it's a Red Bull team, and this team is somewhat Italian, so why France? But it's France Tost. He's talking about the person, not the country.
The incredible Minardi times before that, which was as amazing as it was with Toro Rosso and AlphaTauri. So what we mean by a new team is that we have for this team the target to bring it to the sharp end of the midfield. And you look at what has been achieved by France and by the guys and the girls, and you say, well, it's not going to happen just because there is a few new guys coming, and you just hope it's going to go to a more competitive aspect. You really feel like we will need to look again at the foundations, look again at the basis, to build something that will allow this team to go and fight for the bigger prizes. So this is why we look at it as a new team. And if you add to it the fact that to support that vision, we go about it with some new partners, new name obviously, but new global partners, something the teams probably never had to that extent in the past. Fresh energy, fresh vision as well. This is why the energy you would find in the garage is the one of a new team.
Now, Franz Tost always used to set the target of P5. Every year it was the same. Didn't always achieve it. When you say front midfield, are you saying P5 or can you go to the even sharper end than that?
So the way we look at it, at least for the next, say, 12, 18 months, is that we don't set a number to ourselves. What we say to ourselves is, let's look at every single part of the company. And we do that with our people, with the people that have been part of the previous chapters. Say, let's look at all these parts and what do we need in every single department to be the best possible. We don't put a number to it, like we want to be the best in that small area, and then the best in that small area, and so forth and so on. That's the path we are embarking on. We will see where it takes us.
You've just come from Ferrari, so you know what it's like when the bar is up there, you know, a team that wants to win championships. How big is the gulf between where you are now and where you need to be?
You know, the way Formula One has evolved in the last 10, 15 years is incredible. Probably where the team is right now, it's probably the size of any top team 10 years ago, Ferrari and the like of Mercedes and Red Bull 10 years ago.
How many people have you got now?
We have between 500 and 600 people between Faenza and Bicester. So you know, it's a proper operations for a company that is running 2 race cars every 2 weeks or so. So the top teams have had the same evolutions in these last 10 years. They have also exploded in size and skills and experience. So the gap is large to go there. But there is no shortcut for it. So there is an element of infrastructures, an element of tools, an element of skills that you need to inject into the company. It will take some time, but it's the best.
It will take time. Let's see. How long will it actually take? Let's see, this 2024 now. It's 2025. It should be even better. So let's see. Where do we have? Here we have it. I would say still worse than Aston Martin, so there will still be 6, but there will be fighting more regular against Aston Martin. So maybe 2026 they can actually jump even higher.
Target to have is the best adventures to be involved with. So that's what we are starting now.
And is that the move into Milton Keynes as well? What is actually going to be based in the UK going forward?
So, you know, we have been having 2 headquarters for a long while now. We always had Faenza, and then I think probably 15 years ago we started to have Bicester. The reason was very simple. We had our wind tunnel in Bicester. So we started with a small group there, and it grew, and it basically it was the aero department in Bicester, and then some design function like concept, you know, like future cars, if you prefer. And where we are now is that we have a fantastic headquarter in Faenza. It's been built from scratch in 2015 or in 2016. And then instead, the site of Bicester has grown a bit too quickly for the space we have. So we don't use the wind tunnel there anymore. We use a different wind tunnel. The facility is not state-of-the-art anymore, so we are going to close Bicester. And we are going to move everything we are doing in Bicester, we are going to move it to a brand new facility, state-of-the-art, in Milton Keynes, just outside the Red Bull campus. And that's going to allow the teams to put our people in the best possible environment to perform. So we are going to move these departments to that new facilities in Milton Keynes. And of course, we do it pretty much because of what we've just said about the growth of Formula One. We do it with some capacity. So we'll have capacity there to grow the team. And if tomorrow we have an opportunity to hire an engineers on the English job market, regardless of which department it is, we will do it, and we will put him in Milton Keynes. And the same is true for Faenza. If we want to hire engineers, mechanics, technicians, that they prefer to live in Europe or in Italy, we will hire them there, and we will make both headquarters work together regardless of their locations.
So it's still going to be the aero department in the UK with vehicle dynamics in Italy. It's a very basic split, but
It's pretty much a basic split. Moving forward, we don't want to see it only as it's A department there and B department there. We want to look at our company as a location-free company with the technology means that we have today.
Working
And we
more
want
together.
to turn that historical weakness to have two headquarters and the communications between the people. We want to turn that into a strength where we can go and get the best conditions for our people in both sides of the channels.
now, Laurent, we're just a few minutes in, but let's get straight into the politics then, because when you're in Milton Keynes, the aero department moves near to Red Bull Racing. That's got a few people in the paddock a bit hot under the collar.
For some reason, I mean, what's it called? The McLaren boss is a big talker, complaining a lot. For some reason.
Zach Brown in particular has been
Yeah,
very
Zach Brown.
outspoken about it. What is your reaction to that? Is there any bit of you that sympathises with that view, or is it very clear cut to you that going forward everything is clear with the FIA?
Look, it is black and white. So regulations are black and white. We operate at 1,000% within the regulations. And we can be located in Milton Keynes, in Faenza, or in Japan. It's exactly the same thing. Aerodynamics is an area that each team needs to do on its own, and that's what we are doing. We are competitive people. We are 100% compliant with the regulations. There is not a single bit of energy that we want to waste outside of that context.
So, very exciting expansion plans. What about the ethos of the team? Does that need to change for it to take the step that you and everyone in Austria wants it to take?
Well, at first, we are in the incredible positions to have a quantity of talent in Faenza and in Bicester that is second to none. If we want to do that step in competitiveness, we will also need to reinforce our people. So it's infrastructures, it's tools, but it's also injecting more skills, because, as we said, the guys we are trying to compete against are bigger. So yes, we are trying to hire people and to reinforce our teams. Yes, we try to do it at all levels, from junior to very senior, and you have seen the recent hiring we have done. With and it's a fantastic sign for us to be able to attract super senior figure of the paddock of top teams, because it shows how serious the project is. But to answer precisely your question,
Or maybe how much people... Yeah, well, you can say that.
yes, it's a very important additional benefit when we hire people with winning experiences. Because yes, the mindset that you get to have in a team that is fighting for the wins is even more on the edge than the rest of the grid. And we try to inject that mindset, and we are lucky enough to be able to have that winning experience coming in from our drivers, from Daniel, for example, to some of the people that we have, to some of the hiring that we are making now.
But the mentality of a team permeates down from the top, from you. What is your management style? What is your message to the team?
Blame
It's never about an individual. And the way we look at this project, Tom, the way we
Blame
go about
other
it, our
people
message
for
to our people is that
others.
this team is going to be about two things: people and culture. The rest, the organizations, the structure, is only the consequence. So we want to put our people in the best possible conditions for them to perform. And this, you need to have the right culture to do that. You need to have the information flowing. You need to have quick decision making. You need to have, what we like to call it. You need to be performance obsessed. You need to be no bullshit. You need to be no blame. You need to be all these things that we want to put into
Blame
our
culture.
project. That's our
Hi.
project. Our people and the way we want to go about it. So that's our style.
And what I love about your story is that you actually have a history with this team. I'm talking even back in the Minardi days when you joined in 2000.
Oh, so he's from the Minardi times. So he can actually have nostalgic stuff from that.
You were there when Red Bull bought the team and it became Toro Rosso back then. How important is that for you that you have that history, and how does that
Not at all.
influence what you do
It's
now
super
as the
wasteful.
boss?
I think the biggest influence, besides the fact that I was lucky enough to learn an incredible amount of things through the Minardi years, through the Toro Rosso years, and I think we were 85 people, 85 in Minardi when I got hired, so it was a bit of a different.
You did
game,
everything. You weren't just the engineer.
We were all doing everything, but I think, Tom, the first element that this history is helping me with is to be conscious of the talented people we have there, because you have been seeing them growing. Some of them are still here. Some others have joined, and really, if you were asking me your first week, like in early January, the first week, you arrive there, you open the books. You meet the people. You start to get the chart of the company. He's very good. Oh, she's excellent. Oh, he's very good. She's excellent. And they say, how many talents do they have here? And this is the main shortcut it gives you to have been working there for so many years is to be conscious of some of the strong assets we have there.
So how many of those 85 that were there back in the Minardi days are still there?
Du ser folk lägga upp bilder när de reser jorden runt, kör coola bilar och...
Fake ad hype.
Du öppnar YouTube och söker Best online business to start for beginners eller How to make money online.
Fake
Ser några
ad
videor med ännu
time
mer
watching.
förvirrad än innan. SMA, dropshipping, trading, remote sales, listan är oändlig och alla säger att deras affärsmodell är den bästa att börja. Personligen försökte jag över 4 olika affärsmodeller och failade med absolut alla. Fram till jag eventuellt lyckades med att skala mitt egna företag till över 180 000 kronor.
Song we should listen to.
En sak jag lärde mig från alla mina misstag som kommer spara dig månader om inte år med trial and error är att om du är en nybörjare och du vill maximera dina chanser för framgång bör du välja en karriär eller affärsmodell som uppfyller 3 kriterier. Det första, konkurrens. Sälj något som många behöver men som få levererar. Det andra är komplexitet. Börja med en affärsmodell som inte kräver att du omedelbart går ut och lär dig komplexa färdigheter. Och det tredje är finansiell risk. Börja med en modell som inte kräver att du riskerar mycket kapital i början. För att som nybörjare kommer du göra misstag. Och idag ska jag dela med mig om den exakta affärsmodellen jag använder för att gå från 0 till över 180 000 kronor per månad på bara 4
It's
månader.
not expensive.
Jag är 99% säker på att du aldrig har hört om den här modellen tidigare. Och det är därför
And
det är
you
just
will
en
not
sån
regret
otrolig
it.
möjlighet just nu. I genomsnitt får våra studenter sin första betalande kund inom 27 dagar. Och du behöver inte mycket startkapital för att
In
faktiskt
just
komma igång. Vi låter
27
programvara
days.
och AI göra mestadels av jobbet åt oss. Och du behöver bara ett par kunder för att faktiskt kunna bygga en heltidsinkomst online. Och jag vet vad du tänker, jag kommer absolut inte be dig att sluta vara skeptisk. Men om du vill lära dig exakt vad den här affärsmodellen handlar om, hur du kan få din första betalande kund inom 4-6 veckor och sen skala det till en heltidsinkomst på rekordtid, kolla in vår helt kostnadsfria introduktionsvideo på nästa sida. Det kommer att kosta dig exakt 0 kronor och cirka 30 minuter av din tid. I bästa fall tar du första steget mot att äntligen starta din online-karriär. I sämsta fall kommer du upptäcka att detta inte är något för dig, men du kommer få en bättre inblick om hur online-affärsvärlden fungerar och komma ett steg närmare din väg till framgång. Oavsett vad kommer detta vara värd din tid. Klicka vidare nu så ses vi
Oh my
där.
god. Can't say the word. It's bad, man. Sometimes never lucky. Oh, normal lad. With no sound?
That's a good question.
I mean, there are some.
Of course, there
Yeah,
are some. Of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
I would say a good half of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. For sure, you can find at least 40, 50 people that would have been Minardi, probably even more. There, so yeah.
If you find yourself scrolling through social media, looking for healthy meal prep inspiration and saving recipes each day that you never look at again, Factor could be exactly what you need. Eating better is easy
Yeah,
with Factor's
sure.
delicious, ready-to-eat meals. All you have to do,
How much money do the sponsor pay to be on Formula One's site? I wanna know. And how many actually cares about whatever they sponsor.
is heat and eat. There's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed.
No.
All their meals are fresh, never frozen, and chef-crafted. And they're ready to go in just 2 minutes. No prep,
Just
no
2
mess.
minutes?
It doesn't matter what your goals are, you'll find 35 different options to choose from every week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. My favorite
Nice.
was the jalapeno cheddar lime chicken with cauliflower rice. The chicken was moist and flavorful. It was the perfect balance of spice with the jalapenos and melted
True.
cheddar cheese. I also really enjoyed the cauliflower rice. It was so tasty and satisfying. It's almost unbelievable that it's a lower calorie alternative. Overall, it was a well-balanced and filling meal that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah,
Factor is
true.
entirely flexible to suit your schedule. Just
Speaking
choose
the
as
truth
little or as
here.
many meals as you need each week and pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. It's the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. It's much less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. So head to factormeals.com/grid50
I think I will not.
and use the code
How about
GRID50 to get 50% off. That's code
50?
GRID50 at factormeals.com/grid50
God.
to get 50% off.
And of course, Laurent, Daniel Ricciardo has a history with the team as well, and you worked with him 10 years ago
And now
when it
Daniel Ricciardo and Tsunoda have some history together.
was Toro Rosso. Let's talk about him now. How has he changed in the time that he's been away?
You walk in the team, you see Daniel, you have the first couple of days of running with him, and you see the race winning guy, Tom. That's what you see. You feel that you have in the car, you see in the car a guy that have been hunting for races.
Oh my god, for this was a
podiums.
creeper.
That's how you look. So the Daniel you see in the car
So
is the
scary.
Daniel that was fighting for the very top position. You say, whoa, actually, for whatever reasons, I'm lucky enough to have in our team right now a race winning guy, and so I guess the Daniel we have now is the best Daniel we have seen. Of course, he has had a rough patch in the last few years.
Wait, what?
But ironically,
You sure?
it's probably putting him now in the best mindset, in the best spirit, with the best energy. He has these incredible technical sensitivities. He's buying into the project like he's living Visa Cash App RB with us. He's proud of the colors, and he's pushing us with all the positivity that we all know about him. So I think in the start of a project like that, having a guy like Daniel with us driving the car, it's just a game changer.
Have you talked to him about the rough patch? Why it happened? I mean, you've worked with so many racing drivers in your career, world champions. What is your assessment of why it went wrong for Daniel? And indeed, have you seen like anything like that with other drivers as well?
So it's very difficult from outside to understand it. It's probably difficult for the people inside to understand it. So I'm not going here to second guess that. But
Wait, why not? Could be fun.
I would lie if I was not telling you that this increase the attention levels that we have in making sure we have the right conditions around him. So we are very careful with him, and he's part of that process. He's driving that process in making sure we put him in the right spot, 360 degrees, in what he find in the car,
With
outside of the
with
car,
Yuki Tsunoda, the right
and
spot.
how he manages his energy.
And it's interesting that the team chose him for this year. I know that the decision was made before you joined or rejoined, but it does make me ask the question, what is the remit of RB now? Because for years it's been bringing on young drivers, and I think you could say that Daniel got the ride instead of Liam Lawson, who is the young driver that perhaps you would have hired 10 years ago. So has the job description of the team changed?
Yes.
I think the team has
No.
3 main objectives or characteristics. No? The first one is easiest to say, the most difficult one to achieve, is the competitiveness target. That's what we discussed initially. No? So whatever we do, the first target is get out of the bottom of the grid, go back as soon as possible in the sharp end of the midfield. That's the first target.
No.
The second target is still to train and to grow and to develop new drivers. It doesn't mean that you will have two young drivers in the car all the time, because there is obviously, if you want to have both objective 1 and objective 2, there is some clever balance you need to find. But it means that yes, we still have a target to grow young drivers. It's fantastic in the way we are evaluating Yuki, the way we are trying to grow Yuki, to have Daniel with him. It gives a fantastic reference point. And therefore, for us, it's as good as it gets to have the experience and the speed of Daniel, to have the raw speed and the use of Yuki. He has been surprising the F1 world every single year. He's on the 4th year.
Especially this year.
Surprising? That's the questions we have to.
Don't know
to
why.
answer. So that's the our two main pillars.
And are you going to keep the benchmark in one of the cars? Is that going to be the combination you want going forward? One experience, one rookie.
All I can tell you is that for sure what we have now is the ideal setup. Is it possible with all the variations of the driver market moving forward? Is it possible that you keep that setup every single year moving forward? I don't know. But the combination right now is for sure the best possible for us, and it is and it still will be a target to grow young drivers.
And do you think as the field converges, I know it's still early season, so it's going to take a few races before we really know how it's going to pan out, but as the cars get closer, does the onus on the driver become even greater than it was before?
I think so, yes.
So experience like Daniel's becomes even more valuable?
Of course. You are completely right, Tom. If you extremize the convergence of the regulations, then you will get the cars closer and closer. So yes, the specific importance, the importance of the drivers is going to increase even more than now. Yes.
Hi.
The optimization work you are able to do at the race weekend, the importance of that job will increase because all the cars will be more similar. Behind that, in order to be able to optimize what you have during the race weekends with not so much running, behind that, you have all the virtual world of simulations that needs to bring you to the point where you are starting close enough to the optimum for the little time you have, with cars that are very competing very closely one with the other. So yes, that's where we are embarking.
Okay, what about Yuki? You've mentioned him. This is year 4 for him in Formula One. What are you looking for from him in 2024?
As we say, Yuki, he has been surprising everyone in the F1 world.
He is really surprising this year. People is really asking about the new Tsunoda.
World in year 1, in year 2, in year 3. We think if he does another step, after 4 years of steps, you are starting to talk about very serious level. And to measure that steps, we have a guy like Daniel, hopefully in his best form. We think that will be in his best form. and therefore what we are looking from Yuki is that he does that one more step.
What does a step look like, though? He's not going to get quicker.
He is.
Is it? Is he okay? Can they still get quicker?
Of course.
Okay, that's interesting.
Of course.
In terms of how they optimize the car and all the tools they have at their disposal?
Yes, of course, drivers do get quicker, 100%. As the good ones. the good ones. I have no doubt about it. I mean, all the, as you said, I've been lucky enough to work with quite a few top drivers. And the top guys, they make steps. When you expect it less. They come and yes, they understand something more about the tires. Some of it they tell you, some of it they don't tell you. And they will be able to go faster in a given situations, to go faster in another situations. Yes, of course, through better understanding, let it be the core feelings they have in the car or how they link what they feel in the car with what they exchange with their engineers. Through how deep the relationship they can build with the team is. So, you have obviously the race engineers, but then with the years going, you interact with more than one engineers, with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you have the bandwidth for that, suddenly your understanding of the car increase. And if you then have the capacity to utilize it when you are driving, yes, you will go faster.
And does Yuki have that capacity?
Yuki is growing this capacity year after year. And therefore this is why there is still speed
maybe
to come. And you can probably say that what you witness from a maturity perspective, from a driver-engineer relationships, quite well reflects probably the growth you also get onto the pure speed side.
Now, we're going to come on to your engineering background in a minute, but you are an engineer, you are also the team principal. Are you getting involved at that level of detail with the race car as an engineer?
No, the answer is no.
Laurent, can I have a bit more front flap, please?
No. The answer is no. There is a very good people that are in charge of that. And it is crucial. It's a large company, as we said. It is crucial that we pull the company toward the top, not toward the bottom. So if one starts to do the job of the guy below him, then the guy below him starts to do the job of the guy below him, and so forth and so on, and you bring the whole company down. What we need to do is the other way around. To make sure that you let your guys develop, make the mistakes, correct, fight harder. And their guy below does the same things and so forth and so on.
And there's one driver we haven't talked about yet. I think he's technically your reserve driver, I think we call him, Liam Lawson. He impressed so many people in Formula One with what he did last year, and we had him on the show actually on F1 Beyond the Grid, and he was a little bit frustrated when I spoke to him actually, because it was in Austin, and of course it was the first race that Daniel was back. Where does he fit into your plans?
I think you're right. Liam did impress everyone. Last year I was watching TV during the garden leave, and I was like, oh, these guys, in Zandvoort, it's raining. Like, it's as bad as it gets. And he made it. That's the beauty of, that's what I guess as fans we love in these racing drivers. It's like, you put them in the most awkward, difficult positions.
And they succeed.
From at that very moment, and bam, they do it, and that's what he did. So, we have a very talented reserve drivers. We are taking every opportunity to put him in the car. He drove in Imola last month with the 2022 car. He's going to be with us pretty much every weekend. He's driving for us at the simulators. We are trying to, he's not racing, fine, but we are trying to grow him as much as we can. And we both know, we have discussed now during the time of this chat, we have discussed how important it is to get that time with engineers, to grow in your understanding of the dynamics of the team, of what is behind the data. It's not behind the racing. So we are going to do that. We are conscious that it's frustrating for a driver not to race. But again, we are trying to build the best platform for him, and then you will see we'll all see if an opportunity comes.
How many miles is he going to do in a 2-year-old car? I guess that's the crux of it, isn't it? How much actual driving, real driving, is he going to do?
You're right. Huh? I'm not going to quote a number because it's not going to be impressive. We are going to try to put him in the car as often as we can. It's not a high number. Why is that? 24 races. We don't have test team anymore. So even though, from a regulations perspective in Surrey, you could run every week if you wanted with the 2022 cars. But the situation of the team right now is that we don't have a team dedicated for that. We don't have the people, we don't have the equipment, and therefore that running is still going to be limited.
Were you tempted to give him a race program this year? Do you think it's a big disadvantage not to race? Do you think a driver loses something? Oscar Piastri certainly said when he joined McLaren last year, it took him a few races just to get back up to speed with the hustle and bustle of a start, for example.
Shit.
I think if you should not have several seasons without racing. That's going to hurt. But I think there is many examples where drivers have made the best use of a single season out of the racing. Because there is so much to learn outside of the race car, and it's an opportunity to do it without the pressure of jumping in the car. As much as it feels a lot of effort for a small returns, the returns is still there. So there is still a lot to get.
Did you ever want to race?
The real answer.
YouTube pays creators more than any other social media platform. More than TikTok, more than Twitch, more than Twitter, more than Facebook, more than Instagram, more than Snapchat, and it's not even close. And if you're a small YouTuber who wants to take a small piece of this $250 billion pie, I suggest you download vidIQ. vidIQ is the world's #1 AI tool for YouTubers. It helps with channel growth and optimization. vidIQ helps you track your video's performance, brainstorm ideas, generate content faster, identify trends, spy on competitors, and so much more. You can click the link in this ad to sign up for just $1 and start using vidIQ to grow your YouTube channel. I'll wait.
You will?
So you just click the link on this ad, take you to a page.
You said you will wait.
All that great stuff. Start getting more views. Just $1.
Nice.
Okay, this is incredibly boring. Just click the link somewhere on this ad.
Yes,
for just $1, and I'll see you there.
How about still no?
Du, vad är den lägsta räntan jag kan få av dig?
Lyssna på mig nu. Mitt råd för att få den...
Please no, I'm unfortunately never been in that frame.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, Laurent, because you were born in Tours. I hope my pronunciation's okay.
Very good, very good.
and that's near Le Mans. So I guess were you always destined to get involved in racing in some capacity?
Look, the beautiful thing is of many of our stories in the paddock is that yes, I'm still a little fan of cars. I guess like most kids. So I was watching cars, I was watching racing cars on the TV. That's it, nothing else, nothing more. Watching every race, get passionate about it. Like most kids, hopefully more and more kids tomorrow. And then, yes, we were living in a country, in a region where there were a few races. My parents took me to Paul Ricard in '88.
For the Grand Prix?
For the Grand Prix, it was a Prost Senna, big war.
On
and off track, I guess. and yes, for sure the passion was there. You never think you are going to turn that into a job. You just love to follow it, and then suddenly you wake up and you are actually getting paid for what is a hobby.
And were there any holiday jobs at Le Mans, for example, or?
Not at Le Mans, but my first internship was with Signature. Signature was actually very close to Tours. They were in Bourges, small city, very very close to Tours. And they were a Formula 3 team, winning Formula 3 team at the time, and they were taking that one student every year from the university I was in, and I was lucky enough to be that student whenever I finished my study, and that's how it all started.
So that was while you were at Estaca in Paris.
Yes.
So when you signed up onto an engineering course, was it with a view to getting involved in racing, or did you see yourself, I don't know, making aeroplanes?
It's quite funny. When I sent my application to Estaca, part of the applications was you had to write a motivation letter. You had to say why you want to be in that school, because And in my letter, I wrote, how much I love racing, and how much I would love to be working racing one day, and so on. And I eventually got the interview. So then you had the interview with with the director of the studies or whatever. So I went there, and the guy looked at the dossier. So they look at your, at how much you performed before, and then they look at that letter, and then he looked at me and said, please, don't come here if you want to go motor racing. I'm like, why? He said, because there is so many people that are disappointed here because they don't get to motor racing. We don't want to create that expectation. There is only a few guys that get there. Don't come here with that idea. So, okay, fine. And then eventually it worked. So
stamp on your dreams before you've started. Fred Vasseur, I think, was at Stacker,
yes,
wasn't
yes,
he?
yes.
So he's one of the people that made it. You've made it. But
quite a few other ones.
But Laurent, your
Sometimes
university
lucky.
career didn't end there. You then came to the UK, to Loughborough University. Now, what went on there?
It was the very beginning in Europe of the Erasmus program, which I'm sure most of the guys listening know. It's a sort of exchange program between universities in the world. And it was the early days of that program that was trying to facilitate university to exchange students on the final years, and that's what happened between the Estaca and Loughborough. So I got lucky enough to do my last year of study, my final year of study in Loughborough, and being exposed to the British side of the motorsport, which is obviously extremely important to what the sport is today.
And did you get involved in the British racing scene while you were studying in the UK?
No, not really. It was still very academic. So it was, it was Formula One related, the projects we had there, but it was purely academic.
It's a very sporty university, Loughborough. I know people who have been there, on sort of sport scholarships. Did you get swallowed up by the sporty side of it?
I wish I could say yes, but
Okay,
it would be a plain lie. So no. So you're right. Loughborough is extremely famous for sport, but they actually also have a very, very good automotive engineering department, and that's the part I was in, unfortunately, not the sport side.
So Laurent, obviously engineering was your route in, but how competitive are you? How much of it is it
at all.
the lure of competition for you?
Look, we are competitive. We are very competitive.
If I was to
us.
play tiddlywinks with you now, would you go?
Wait.
How
What?
you'd really want to? Would you want to kill me in terms of beating me, or? I mean, if I was Fernando Alonso is famous for wanting to just destroy everyone he does anything against. Are you like that?
I think we are all a bit like that. Yeah. I think that's what you need to I guess enjoy the work we are doing here. So yes, we are competitors before being drivers. I think we are certainly competitors before being engineers. So guys are competitors before being mechanics. So yes, the competition side is the main aspect, I think, in what drives us every day to wake up and to go and want to improve. And motor racing has a harsh reality. The harsh reality is that you have a result that comes every 2 weeks, and it doesn't matter the nice speech you are making. This is the result, and then you have to go back, and you have more bad days than good days because you have 10 teams trying to win and only one making it. So the dynamic of you as a team getting back to work on Monday morning is completely fueled by your desire to compete.
Want to get closer to Formula One than ever before?
No.
F1 Experiences has you covered. With
Yes.
official ticket packages available
Don't
at
think so.
every race on the calendar, F1 Experiences ensures you get the most out of your Grand Prix weekend. Make memories that will last a lifetime as you take in the glitz and glamour of Monaco,
No.
the sun-drenched excitement of Miami, or the historic charm
lying.
of circuits like Suzuka, Spa, or Silverstone. But it's not just about the races, it's about the experience. From the best grandstands offering prime views of the action to world-class hospitality. And that's just the start of it. Imagine enjoying exclusive access, like tours of the paddock, pit lane walks, and guest appearances from top F1 insiders. There's no better way for you to experience the ultimate race weekend.
You
F1
sure?
Experiences, the closest you can get to Formula
Yeah,
One.
listen
Visit
to more British people.
f1experiences.com/2024 to book your official
can't
ticket
survive
package
that.
today. So the F1
Without
story
that.
for you began at
So
Arrows.
important.
Just tell us how that opportunity came about?
Hey, that's another.
We're talking what, 2001?
It's 2001. Yeah, exactly. So it's another funny story. You know, life is about people. You know, we say our project is about people. Life is about people, I guess, and really all the milestones, all the paths for me have been driven by the people you meet. No, so anyway, I was at Signature 2000. I did that internship with her for a year. We had a superb years. The guys were leading the pack. And then early 2001, there was an advertisement in Auto Hebdo, the French version of Autosport. And it was Peugeot F1 was looking for an engine engineer for Formula One. You know, if you are not in Formula One feels completely impossible to reach. So you know, what can I do? I just send my CV and then we see what happened. So had to interview. Eventually, I got the job. 2 weeks after, I was with Peugeot supplying the engine to Arrows at Silverstone testing, and 3 weeks after, we were in Melbourne. So it was like life changing in 4 weeks. But the funny aspect about it in why Peugeot was becoming Asiatex, why were they looking for an engineer at that very moment? That was because, if you recall, so 2000 was the Prost-Peugeot relationship, no? And Jean Alesi was driving for them. And then Jean went to Sauber for the following year. Sauber had a Ferrari engine. So he took with him his Peugeot engineer with him to Ferrari. Actually, the guy is still there. And as a result, Peugeot was missing one guy. That put this ad. I answered the ad, and I eventually got the job.
I think you owe your career to Jean Alesi.
In some respect, I do. But he knows the story.
But that actually was a very difficult year for Arrows. It was the sort of Jos Verstappen, Enrique Bernoldi were your drivers, weren't they?
Indeed,
and it was sort of, I think we can say maybe the beginning of the end for the team. How difficult was it, or were you just wide-eyed and loving being involved?
Yeah, I tell you what, the step is so big when you get thrown into an F1 team like that from a day to another after a season in F3. The step is so big that you know the relative competitiveness of the team is you are not getting there yet. So it was incredible. You know, you were there. You were in the heart of racing. You know, Arrows was a very racy company. You know, with some very experienced guys and very pure racing spirit. Even though the results were maybe not that great, and the learning in that year was just incredible.
I mentioned Jos Verstappen. Did you meet Baby Max back then?
Of course.
He did. Okay, so he came to races. Yeah,
he did come to races. I think not in the Arrows year, but we met again with Jos a few years later when he drove for Minardi, and in those years for sure Max will be in the garage there with his father.
He was what, 4 or 5 at the time?
Probably.
He was probably karting already.
Probably. Yeah, that's right.
And winning.
That's right.
No, look, so you mentioned Minardi. That you make the change in 2002 after just a year at Arrows.
After 2 years, yeah.
Why the move?
Very simple, you know. So I was working for Peugeot F1. Peugeot F1 had sold the business to Asiatech. I don't know if you recall the story. It was a strange time. So Asiatech runs these engines for 2 years. In 2001, they provide the engines to Arrows. In 2002, they provided the engine to Minardi. And then end of 22, boom, they closed doors. That's it. We are out. So luckily enough, Minardi told me, well, look, if you don't have a job anymore there, please come to us on the chassis side, which was a bit strange. You know, I was the engine guy. I said, okay, let's go on the chassis side, and that's how it started.
Okay, so you went with Asiatech.
I went
to Minardi.
First with Asiatech to Minardi.
Yeah.
And then when Asiatech closed its doors, Minardi, Mr. Minardi kindly and Paul Stoddart kindly proposed to me to come to work for them.
We're going to be in Melbourne in just a couple of weeks' time. Were you there? Had you joined the team on that famous day when Mark Webber finished 5th?
Yeah, it was incredible. I was his engine engineer on that year, and it was obviously the first race for him, first race for the team with that engines and blah blah. So No, it was an incredible feeling. I think Mark and Paul ended up on the podium, even though we finished fifth. But now look, incredible. But that's what we love about motor racing. No, it's you get these highs, you get many lows, but you get these incredible highs.
You've worked at sort of both ends of the grid. You've won races with Ferrari. You've been at Minardi and had those high days. How different is Formula One from the back to the front? Pressure?
It is different. As we said earlier.
Is it more enjoyable in one or the other?
Because we are competitors before all, you will be looking for the sharp end of the grid. You will be looking for the higher pressure, for the higher risk you need to take, for the higher competition. So that's what we are here for. So as we said earlier, when we are looking for people with winning experience, this is because we know how tough it is. When you are, it's. I give you an example. If you are in the midfield, and we are in the midfield now, and you finish a race, let's say P8 or P10, no, you are in the points. You have scored some points. You can tell yourself a lot of nice stories about it. Could have been P9, could have been P10, could have been P7. We scored some points, let's go to the next race. If you are fighting for the win, on Sunday night, there is only one answer. You won or you didn't. And that puts you into quite a different
It's a different
mindset.
Mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Fuck,
But
where did this come from?
can you remember the moment that Red Bull bought Minardi, and how did that change your thinking, your mentality?
Obegränsade tillsammans. Hos Tele2 hittar du de senaste mobilerna med obegränsad surf. Spara upp till 6 000 kronor med vårt bästa abonnemang, obegränsad snabbast. Tele2, obegränsad.
Initially, that was end of 2005. When we heard the news, like in the team, we just couldn't believe it. Like it felt like, Christmas Day, or Christmas Day in a sense that the teams was so much trying to survive day after day for so many years that it was part of our DNA just to try to survive for the next months, let alone for the next year, And Red Bull was representing the opposite vision of that. They had just gone into Formula One a year prior with incredible ambitions, with an incredible spirit. And say, well, we are going to be part of that now. So the initial spirit was like, we couldn't believe into it. And then, of course, what then started is the adventures that took you from these 85 people to where we are now.
How quickly did it grow? I went there in 1998 when Esteban Tuero was there to interview him, and I mean, it really was just a couple of buildings, really, back then. Once you had the Red Bull impetus behind you, was it just a building site for the next 5 years as it expanded?
No, the truth is it was quite linear. At first, these buildings are still there. If you want to come and see them, they are still there. We are still using them. We are very proud of them. So even though we have the brand new headquarters, it's on the other side of the road, and we still have these buildings. No, you don't change things from a day to another. So from that moment, the team grew a little bit more day after day, year after year. The regulation changed several times in that time frame. So sometimes we had to do new department. You had to be at some stage. We had to become a manufacturer's full spec, and that's how the teams have done these fairly linear steps, but continuously through the years.
Franz Tost has told this podcast in the past that it was that win at Monza that was your undoing, actually, because that's when everyone else complained and you had to become a constructor in your own right. Would you agree with Franz?
I think he is right, At the time, it was 2008, it was really like a customer car.
Oh yeah, Sebastian Vettel's first win.
And obviously it went very well, probably a bit too well. And in reactions to that, as a sport, it was decided, no, each team needs to be manufacturers, and therefore we had like, well, okay, fine, we don't have a design office anymore. How are we going to design a car now, and how do you make a chassis? But luckily, And ironically, we could rely also on that more distant past where Minardi was actually doing its cars. And so that's why we went through this different phase of the regulations. And it's funny we are having the discussions now about can you buy a gearbox from the team? And again, I think it has put into the team these very strong, flexibility skills, because we know things change fast, and we have to adapt, and we have to do the best with what we have.
Laurent, I can't reference Monza 2008 without talking about Sebastian Vettel, four-time world champion, huge success. What are your memories of him back then?
If I had to pinpoint only one thing, it would be what we touched on earlier. Sebastian was a guy where in his 18 months there, because he joined in mid-2007, he will be the guy that will do a step every 3-4 races. Every 3-4 races, you will see him doing boom, boom, step up, step up.
Where would the step be?
Speed, let it be single lap or racecraft. Capacity to describe what the car is doing, capacity to guide you to what the car needs. Every 3-4 race he will do that, and he did that up until the last race of 2008, and then he moved to Red Bull Racing, and I'm very convinced he continued to do that there. And even obviously we were reunited a bit later at Ferrari, and it is also what you see there, a guy that has been continuously trying to improve, obviously had the capacity to do so, and that's why he became what he did.
Do you think all of the good guys, really good guys, have that capacity, or do you think some of them it's all God-given talent and they don't work at it? I think of Montoya, I think of Kimi Räikkönen. Do you think they were improving in the way that, I know you didn't work with them, but you've observed them?
So I don't want to talk for drivers that I haven't had the chance to work closely with.
Why not?
The only thing I can tell you is that even the guy with a huge amount of talent, and I was lucky enough to meet those, they will still want to add the component about optimizing the car, working hard, understanding the car, getting more out of it, and so on. So I'm sure you have different models, and I don't think every driver is the same. And I think you may be right that some have different needs, different balance. We were talking earlier about the balance for a driver or another. I'm sure there is different sweet spot for each drivers. All I'm quite confident to say is that Formula One is such a complex sport now that nobody on the grid is at the top if there is not a massive level of commitment to the sport. In a way or another, they all have different ways to do it and to balance their energy. But I'm convinced that anybody who is winning there has a absolutely incredible level of commitment to the sport.
So, in your time at Minardi / Toro Rosso / whatever else it's been called over the years, who...
Visa Cash App Visa Cash App Formula 1. Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. Come on now.
Drove for you who didn't make it, but you think had the talent to win races?
The Red Bull program had some super good drivers over these years, and the difficulties of what we are trying to do is that even when you run the guys in Formula 1, you are effectively taking a picture of where they are now.
Okay.
But if you believe in what we say about the progressions, in fact what you are trying to do is to evaluate if they have the potentials to make these steps. And you try to build the environment around them so that they are more likely to make steps than not, if they have the capacity to do so. So it's very, very difficult to say that. I think Helmut had this say in these years that you are mentioning. I think there was quite a few drivers in the junior programs that were fighting for those seats, and he said, I think we had four drivers competing for a seat, and he said, you know what, out of these 4 drivers, I don't know who is the most talented, but if you put the 4 of them on the starting grid, I know who is coming out first at turn 1. That was Helmut's quote, and he was talking about Jean-Eric Verne at the time, who really had that, natural aggressivity and talent for it.
Now, your story changes gear quite dramatically in 2014 because you leave the team side and join the FIA as head of their safety department. Why that move? Because it was surprising for us at the time.
Well, at that moment I had been in Faenza for I think 12 years or so, and from the Minardi time to the Toro Rosso time, and I've been lucky enough to do so many different jobs in the teams and grow in the teams thanks to all the people there, and you simply ask yourself the questions, do you want a single chapter in your life?
No.
Or do you want that same chapter in different places, meaning changing teams and going to do something else? Or do you want to try to learn something different? And I felt it was the right time to find a different energy and to learn something more. We are driven by the learning, by the competition, by the learning. So that's the moment where I felt I needed a new challenge. After so many years in the same place, I didn't feel at that time.
And now you're kind of back.
That going to another team to do the same job was what I was looking for, but I felt that I wanted to learn something new. And Jean-Todt was leading the FIA. Again, back to the young fan that I was. You have all these fantastic memories from watching on TV of Peugeot in the Dakar, in Le Mans, and then obviously of Ferrari. Even though at some stage,
can keep the
and you say, it's people that drives you, and you have the opportunity to work for him, and I took the opportunity.
And does that time at the FIA, at the governing body, help you now?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, he have maybe some secrets, maybe backdoor information. That's oh, his name, McLaren guy. Oh my God, why can't I remember? Maybe that's why he's complaining so much about RB. This guy knows stuff in Fiat.
That was an amazing experience, Tom. At first, with the safety director job, you had in your perimeter, you had all the championships. So it's not Formula One anymore. It's Formula One, it's rally, it's WEC, it's karting, it's and you learn so much as in Formula One, because of the intensity of the calendars and of the competition, we tend to have little time and space and energy to watch outside of what we are doing, but there is so much to learn, so many great stories of motor races outside of F1, and that's what the FIA gave you. They especially if you look at it from a safety perspective, like the equation for F1 is completely different to the one of rally or of karting, and that in terms of an engineering push, it gives you an engineering problem to solve. It gives you a very, very big challenge. So that was really something incredible. And in parallel to that, I had the possibility to be the deputy of Charlie. Charlie had. There is not many Charlie around. Huh? So if you have the possibility to work with a person like that, the amount of learning you get out of it is just so huge that it's difficult to think about better experience.
You're talking about Charlie Whiting, FIA race director. Can you remember now what you were doing when you heard of his death back in 2019?
Of course.
Jag har fortfarande inte sett någon som pratar om den här affärsmodellen. Det är en av de mest underskattade sätten på att tjäna en heltidsinkomst online just nu. Det som är fantastiskt är att du behöver bara...
We don't need you. We can go away from scam ad. Oh my God, 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Let's see, what do we need? stone. Do we have stone? Hopefully. Nope. Nope. Oh, yeah, we have just 6 stones. That's nice. Yeah, the +1. Look nicer. Let's get some, let's see, 29. Yeah. For future stuff. Oh, here we have quartz. We can build some stairs. Hype. One minute more on the ad. We need to make the scammers pay for the shit ads. The justice demands reproduction. By the holy, yeah, by the holy light. And then one more stair down here. That is over. Hype. Oh, we need to one more ad. This one we can skip. Hi.
You know, it was race 1. It was actually the first race for me after the FIA time, and we were going racing together in the previous.
Get him. What is he talking about?
Really something incredible, and in parallel to that, I had the possibility to be the deputy of Charlie. Charlie had. There is not many Charlie around, huh? So if you have the possibility to work with a person like that, the amount of learning you get out of it is just so huge that it's difficult to think about a better experience.
You're talking about Charlie Whiting, FIA race director. Can you remember now what you were doing when you heard of his death back in 2019?
Oh, his death.
Of course. It was race 1. It was actually the first race for me after the FIA time, and we were going racing together in the previous 2 or 3 years, and we bumped into each other into the track walk on Wednesday before the race, and we had a chat and we had a laugh, and we both walked back to our hotel, and in the morning when news come, it's just like feel like it cannot be right. It's just. Somebody must have misunderstood, or
yeah, it's lies. It's
it just obviously feels unreal, but soon
great.
enough you think of the family and of his child and how Charlie was. It was really his secret smile, his child. As much as we were busy and far from the family. All year long, we will talk about our kids, and it will be a different level of conversation.
There was a vacuum in race control, obviously, after he died. Did you have a conversation with the FIA about rejoining? Because you had the experience having been his deputy. Did it even cross your mind to maybe go back to do the job?
No, it did not, Tom. At first, the adventure was starting for me at Ferrari, and obviously this was where the focus was. I think every team, including Ferrari, at that moment, offered support to the FIA in a way or another, with the experience of the 10 sporting directors, 10 technical directors on the grid. I think we all offered the FIA support and constructive collaborations to help dealing with the transition period. and then the rest is history.
Yeah. Just before we move on from the FIA time for you, you oversaw the introduction of the Halo. Must have been a fascinating
Halo
time because I remember some of the drivers resisting a little bit. Just how difficult, I mean, it seems so ridiculous now when you see what it's done in terms of safety, but how difficult was it to get the Halo through into Formula One and then into the junior formulas as well?
It was extremely difficult. As you know, it was a tough fight, probably the most difficult one. Certainly in the one as I've seen. We had pretty much everyone against us at some stage for good and bad reasons. But you know, in the end, Jean-Todt had these visions for a better safety for the sport.
Safety high.
He was pushing very hard. I think we started to get people on our side when we spent more time with the drivers. So at some stage we increased the engagement with the drivers. We met them collectively, we met them individually, we showed them the data, we showed them the case study of which accident we could avoid, which accident we could not avoid. And you know, you referred to the junior formula, and it was actually quite a turning point because, you know, we said, you know what, guys, if it's not in Formula One, it will be no other formula as well. And you know, and some drivers, and I remember Lewis in those days, he was the guy saying, well, you know what, guys, you will look at his colleagues and will say, well, you know, like, guys, if we're not going to take that, we also have a responsibility for the younger boys and girls. So it started to turn there. And then we got more and more support from the drivers, and Jean-Todt was saying, you know, at some stage, you know, that's it, end of the conversations, end of the discussion phase, this is it, and we have it for next year. And he probably just finished his sentence and then he said, and by the way, for the other formulas as well.
So you had a bit of work to do.
So then it was a bit of work to do after, yeah.
Can you put a number on how many lives you think the Halo has saved?
No, that's a question for the FIA, really, and that's not a number to take. That's a number to take very seriously. And
let's see. I mean, oh shit, could be mad.
And I know the guys are doing the analysis at the FIA, and I don't want to quote numbers. We were convinced the impact will be massive over a period of 10 years. What I can probably say is that, looking from outside, if I may say, it probably its effect was probably above our expectations for the years it has been in place. So you know, we were hoping to save a couple of guys for the period of 10 years, and I think it has done more than that.
Have you ever felt like your worldview is expanding and now you need your vocabulary to keep up?
No.
Maybe you're dreaming of working in a different country, or perhaps you're already living abroad and want to navigate everyday situations without getting nervous each time you open your mouth.
Yeah, sure.
But let's face it, finding time for language learning can be a challenge. And traditional methods can be pricey, and just don't cut it when it comes to teaching you languages for real-life conversations.
Yeah, true.
That's where Babbel comes in. Babbel is your ticket to language learning made for the
not
real
all a
world.
scam.
With lessons designed to help you start and engage in real-life dialogues, you'll be speaking confidently in no time. All you need is just 10 minutes a day. Imagine building your vocabulary, practicing for conversations, and boosting your confidence, all with Babbel's Everyday Conversations feature. Plus, with advanced speech recognition technology, you'll perfect your pronunciation effortlessly. But what's great about Babbel is that it doesn't just teach you words, it immerses you in the culture behind the language, making your learning journey lively and enriching. Choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German, and transform yourself with Babbel. Ready to make language learning part of your daily routine? Take advantage of Babbel's amazing offer to learn a new language or improve your English. Right now, Babbel is offering our listeners 6 months free with a purchase of a 6-month subscription with the promo code GRID24. Go to babbel.com/play and use the promo code GRID24 for an extra 6 months free. That's BABBEL.com/play, promo code GRID24. Babbel, your guaranteed path towards speaking a new language.
So Ferrari,
Why does everyone in Formula One want to work for Ferrari at some point? The drivers all talk about it, and of course Lewis Hamilton is on his way there in 2025. What about for engineers? What was the lure of Maranello for you?
I think it's back to being a fan of motor racing, Tom, you know. If you are a fan of motor racing, as Sebastian Vettel will say, you are a fan of Ferrari. And it's very, very difficult to say no to Ferrari.
And what did you find when you first went there, 2019? What surprised you about the team?
You know, at first, the amount of passions around the team is more than what anything can imagine here. So if you go to Italy, you go to Maranello, you see people in front of the factory every single day. You see our fans, the tifosi, every single day, pushing the team, supporting the team. So the amount of passion that there is in the country, in the region, is above anything you can perceive from here. So that's the first thing, that, you know, as much as you think you are prepared for it because you have enjoyed the history of it, and it's actually more than all of that. So the passion is still running high, and due to that, you get incredibly passionate people also inside the company that lives and die for Ferrari, and if you had to do that, you know, certainly a huge push at the time on the infrastructures, on the headquarters. You know, you had quite a strong combination. Arguably, that was not enough to win the ultimate goal of the championship in those days, but certainly everything is there to fight for the biggest prize.
And how difficult is it for you now at RB, being the second team in Italy? Does Ferrari, does it have advantages having
second
Ferrari
team
in Italy?
high,
or is it, do they suck all the attention?
Of course, the attention is on Ferrari as an Italian team. There is no question. Of course, it is also certainly something we need to be careful as well with our people, because it's natural attraction that they may or may have in their past. So we need to work very hard to make sure we are offering them the best environment, and that and you know, I think our project is unique enough to get people to want to embark into that adventures, perhaps to have the increased freedom, the increased risks they are going to be able to take, the increased footprint they are going to have on the projects, to take it to the better place on the grid that we want to target. And I think that's what we try. That's the main thing we can try to offer to our people, to say, look, we are going to give you that increased freedom compared to 8 top teams. We are going to give you that extra risk you will be able to take, and you will be able to express yourself to your best possible level.
Quick question on Charles Leclerc. Have you worked with a faster driver than him?
Förenkla vardagen med HelloFresh. Balanserade middagar på det enkla sättet. Följ recepten steg för steg.
Go away.
You're trying to put me in trouble here.
How good is he?
I tell you right now, Charles is an incredible talent. Who am I to say that? You know, I don't think there is many people on earth that are faster than Charles around one lap, if we can find one. So you know, he's an incredible driver. He's an incredible person. He fits so well with Ferrari. You know, he lives and breathes with Ferrari. He has been growing into these teams for very, very early years. So you know, of course, it's an amazing asset for them. He has these connections with the tifosi, which is a consequence of all of that. Is that, you know, it's really the Ferrari driver, and no, for sure, it's a relationship that has been incredible for these 5 years, and I've learned a lot from him, and I think as we said earlier, he is a guy that maybe people don't see it that often, but he is a guy that work extremely hard. That he's making these steps, and I think there is many more to come for him.
Do you think he'll relish having Hamilton alongside him?
I think he's very happy to have a super fast drivers alongside him.
Now, Laura, in the course of this chat, it's clear that you're passionate, you're a leader, competitive to the core. You're also a detail man. I wanted to find out how well you know the rule book, the sporting regulations, because when you...
Now that could be interesting. Do you actually know the rules or not?
You went to Ferrari. You were the sporting director initially, then of course deputy team principal. So I just want to throw something at you. I really hope this isn't gonna. Hope this is gonna reflect well on
very
you.
bad.
Yes.
Very bad.
But if I was to say to you, right, Article 55.10 of the sporting regulations, right? We're in a race. If I said to you, what is that sporting regulation? Do you know off the top of your head? How well do you know the regs?
I tell you what, no chance now. I used to know the rule book very, very well because it was the job, and the sporting director job. You need to know it upside down, and I would have enjoyed the challenge. In the last few years, we had very, very good guys doing that work, and as we said earlier, it's not right if the guy does the job of his team, and they do the job better than I've ever done. Both at Ferrari and here at Visa Cash App RB, and therefore no, I don't know that article, but I'm confident that our people do know it very, very well.
And I bet you, if I just say to you, 10 car lengths behind the safety car, it all comes back, right?
I'm sure it does come back. It does come back. Yeah.
Well, let's end our chat just by talking about 2024. The team was 8th in the Constructors' Championship last year. Can you improve on that?
Yes.
I think it's...
Wait, 8. 8. I mean, it could be 6 or 7, I would say. So yes, they can improve. The question is, Alpine will be better, or they will fighting with Williams.
It's a minimum target that we have for this year, really, to improve on that. So as much as we are on a mid-term, long-term adventures because of this new team spirit that we try to bring into it, as much as we are trying to build the foundations that we need to build in order to be on top of that midfield, and as much as there is no shortcut for it, of course it will be a disappointment if we don't improve from last year. I would lie if I was saying otherwise. So we need to fight for better than 8, yes.
And is the car born well?
It's early days. It's early days, Tom. The car is I think has born well, and I think the name of the game is going to see how strong our process are now in Faenza, in Bicester, in order to have a very strong development rate on that car. I think the base is good. The name of the game is how quickly you can develop it.
Okay, well, very good luck with that. Laurent, just before you go, new for this year, we have 5 quick fire questions. All right? Question 1. Away from engineering and Formula 1, what else are you good at?
Nothing else.
You're being modest.
No. Ask my wife; she will tell you the same thing.
No. That's 100% a lie. Just like inside the yo.
Is there any other sport?
No. So seriously, the out of engineering and Formula 1, you spend time, energy with the family. That's what you do. And all the pleasures is to see the kids growing and to try to get some time with them.
Okay. Question 2. Which other team boss would you like to be stuck in a lift with?
I think we'll have a good laugh with Fred.
And you have had a good laugh with Fred already.
We have on a nearly daily basis good laugh together. So
talk about your university days,
for example, and not only.
Question 3: who would play you in a film?
Not a good-looking guy.
No, stop with all the truth.
I've always thought you looked like D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers.
No, seriously, I have no clue who will do that role, but
hey, you can play yourself. That's much easier.
But let's. No, I have no clue really.
Okay. Question 4: who is the coolest person in your address book? You can say a racing driver.
It's for sure racing drivers, but I don't know. I don't want to tell you which one.
Look, final one. If you hosted a podcast, who would be your first guest?
Tom Clarkson.
Yeah, great. We'd have a great chat.
We would have another great chat.
Anyone from Motor?
Okay, so that was maybe the first lie. Man, he's honest with everything else that he don't have to be honest with, and then he lies with something that he could just telling the truth about.
Tracing history, just while we're talking about that.
Okay, I tell you what.
It can be someone dead or alive.
I tell you what, again as a fan, Ayrton Senna will be probably the one. But I'm sure Alain Prost has a lot to say.
Laurent, it's been fab having you on the show. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Good
Dan.
luck.
Thank you.
Not Michael Schumacher. It's Bannon. Dark. The dark side.
Lyssna på mig nu. Mitt råd
Oh shit, go away.
för att få den bästa rätt.
Go away. No need to watch the ads now when it's done. Let's see. I would say we soon, when this water is done, we can do. We are done. Okay, we can click, and for the last part we can do some Kym Illman, because Norris had done something. London Norris F1 driver profile. So let's see what.
G'day. Lando Norris
G'day,
is
mate.
the real deal. He was born in Bristol on the 13th of November 1999, and today he races under the number 4 for McLaren and is widely regarded as one of the best drivers in the world, finishing 6th in last year's F1 World Drivers' Championship. I was there when this fresh-faced Brit finished 12th in his very first F1 race at the 2019 Australian Grand Prix. So, what's he like? Well, I find him in the paddock to be great fun. There I see a young man enjoying the thrill of driving the world's best cars. He's smiley, he's happy, and openly shows his emotions, and that's something that can't be said for all F1 drivers. Obviously, F1 is reasonably new to him, so...
That's a lie. Just as soon as Sergio Perez win a race, you will see Max Verstappen do a response. Or if someone beats him, then he will also show a lot of emotion.
As yet, he's not become jaded. One thing that's clear to me is he's super confident with the media and often just tells it like it is. He'll inject his personality into interviews.
Is this Ted Snowboat?
Yes, it is.
I remember the Brazil Grand Prix last year in the paddock when Ted Kravitz was the last journo to interview Lando at the back of the garage, but his cameraman was nowhere to be seen. Lando launched into him jokingly, telling him his time was about to expire, ribbing Ted, saying that the cameraman should have been there. The 24-year-old was taking it right up to the seasoned 49-year-old Sky journalist. For me, it was fun to watch, and I see that side of his personality often. What's he like with fans? Fantastic. He'll stop for autographs and selfies when he's not needed urgently elsewhere and gives them his attention for that moment, which, as you can imagine, delights a good many fans. Now, I've seen other drivers sign stuff where they don't even look at the person or say anything, just hand it back and walk away, making no connection with that fan of any sort. That always strikes me as cold
Lewis Hamilton,
uninspiring, but I don't see that with Lando. He's excellent with fans. So let's go back in time. He was born in...
I'm sure Peter Wiseau would say something about that Lewis Hamilton is not at all that kind
Bristol.
of person.
A Belgian mum Siska and British dad Adam, and they are lovely people. Adam was listed in the top 500 wealthiest people in Britain in 2019. He made his money running Pensions Direct, but now he runs Pure Scooters, and full marks to him because he's got many of the drivers scooting around at the track on his particular product. I get on really well with Adam, and I do love his eclectic sense of dress. Lando has two sisters, Flo, a promising equestrian rider, and Siska, same name as Mum, yes. He also has an older brother, Oliver, who is married with a child, making Lando an uncle. So where did Lando develop his passion for motorsport? Well, it goes back to 2008, when he finished 35th in the Super 1 National Championship. He raced karts until 2014, finishing in the top 3 in 10 different categories. From 2014 to 18, he competed in no less than 16 different series, achieving 5 series wins, including the FIA Formula 3 European Championship in 2017. And in
Wait, London Norris F1 driver profile. So it's not... I thought this would be something about his profile, but it's just about him.
2018, he was runner-up to George Russell in the F2 Championship. I took this pick on Media Day prior to that final race in Abu Dhabi. But that wasn't the first pick I took of him. This was it, going back to Media Day 2018 Japanese GP, where he did an FP1 session in the McLaren the following day. So how did he go in his rookie year, 2019? He scored his first points in Bahrain, a 6th. His first podium in Austria came in 2020 during COVID. The following year, he had 4 podiums: Imola, Monza, Monaco and Austria, in the points for the first 10 races before his Hungarian GP crash, and he only dipped out on scoring points that year in 2 races, Hungary and Spa. If you followed Lando for all of his F1 time, you'll know that there was quite an infatuation with the media, him and milk. That came from one mention in a WTF1 video.
A lot of milk, because I love milk.
But that milk reference just doesn't come up anymore. Like a lot of the F1 drivers, he moved to Monaco and is good mates with fellow Monaco residents, Max Verstappen and George Russell. But what does he drive away from the track? Well, last year he took delivery of this custom-built McLaren 765 LT Spider. He recently sold a 72 Fiat 500 Jolly at auction. That was the first car he ever bought with his own money. And what's his dream car? A Pagani Zonda. What are his other passions? Well, he loves luxury watches, and I know he has to wear a Richard Mille at the track, but away from the track he can wear what he wants, and he has a sizable collection. And then, of course, there's golf. He played in the Netflix Cup recently, just before the Vegas Grand Prix. He's certainly no scratch handicapper, and over the last 6 months or so, he's mentioned that he hasn't really played a lot of golf. I guess you can't do a video about Lando unless you mention Carlando. And that relationship has been huge on social media. Carlos, who's 5 years older than Lando, was his teammate in 2019 and 2020. It's unusual for teammates to be so close, and I guess Carlos, being 5 years older than him, was somewhat of a mentor to his younger teammate. And even when Carlos left McLaren for Ferrari in 2021, the pair was still close. And I remember this encounter at the start of the 2021 season. It was pre-season testing, and the pair arrived at exactly the same time, with Carlos taking the opportunity of ribbing his old teammate. As an F1 photographer, I can tell you that the pics of the pair of them are always in demand by my Insta and YouTube audience. It's a genuine friendship that certainly extends past team boundaries. Have a look at these 2 pictures. They were taken in Japan, and just outside the paddock was a wall of pictures of drivers, and the pair took an opportunity to deface each other's print. And what does Lando's signature look like?
So mean.
This is it. Lando's good mates with Dutch DJ Martin Garrix, but does he party? Rarely is the answer. He's got some pretty solid people around him to keep him focused and grounded, and I'm talking about his management, Mark Berryman from Ad Management, a fellow Brit who was appointed by Lando's family many years ago to look after him, and his trainer is another Brit, John Malvin, who runs Pioneered Athletic Performance. He's been at Lando's side for a good many years too. His first girlfriend was Luisa Oliveira from Portugal. When did I first meet her? It was at post-season testing in 2021, although they were a little bit coy about that. But my social media audience couldn't get enough pics of the pair. Some of my biggest posts of 2022 featured them, and this is the last picture I shot of the pair in Hungary 2022. After that, they parted ways, and he's not been seen in the company of any other female in the paddock since. On the social media front, he's big on Instagram. 7.3 million fans on his main account, but did you know he has a secondary account? Yes, LN4, which is a bit more commercial, features more posts than the other page, and he's very hands-on with his social media, although he does employ a switched-on agency to coordinate things. His merchandise is extremely popular, and as a brand, there are few bigger in F1 than Lando Norris. Not all drivers walk the tracks, but certainly Lando does, and while he probably doesn't need it, especially to learn about the track, it's more quality time to spend with his engineers. And here are two of the people that he's closest with in the team, Jose Manuel Lopez Garcia and Will Joseph. I'm pretty lucky with Lando. I often get smiles and some lovely gestures from the driver, and particularly when he has a good result, he's more than happy to acknowledge my lens. And of course that makes my pictures far better than if he's just walking past.
So last year in the beginning was really hard to get a good photo done.
Talk about fashion now, and he, like a couple of other drivers, has worn in casual clothes on a number of days. What have I seen him in? This Arabic thobe for the last race of the year 2023. Of course, I've seen him in his own merch. And when it comes to shoes, I've spotted him in Nike high tops, Golden Goose, Puma, K-Swiss team shoes, Alpine Stars racing shoes with the British flag on them. He's developed an interest in photography lately, like his ex-teammate Daniel Ricciardo, and like Daniel, shoots with a Leica. We haven't seen Lando Norris win his first race yet, but we have seen him on the podium a number of times, and I do love his celebration with the bottle.
Not the people that will lose the trophies.
I'm surprised that he's never broken one, given the number of times that he's done this. And has it only been in Formula One? No, he used to do it in F2 as well. Going back to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix of last year, I was quite surprised when he walked in after a couple of weeks' break with a goatee. And throughout the year, he was spotted with varying degrees of beard and moustache. What is his height? Well, we put that to rest at the start of 2023 when I cajoled him into letting me measure him for a YouTube video, which you'll find in the description.
I mean, that's... that video was... Maybe this one or another video. So weird. It's like behind the scenes in a weird room. He... and now... and the driver together.
Description below. It was a great video, and I can tell you that we did confirm his height at 177 centimetres. Things at the moment are going very well for the McLaren driver, but the journey has not always been easy. He admitted recently that he'd had some mental health issues, saying, what would he do if he wasn't any good at driving? That was all he knew. But I think his results suggest that he is pretty good at driving. And could he win a world championship? Yeah, I think he could. While I was preparing for this video...
He could, but as long Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen is in Formula 1, it will be really hard.
I was asking myself, what was the happiest I've seen him? And I think it was probably his Monza 1-2 with Daniel on the podium in 2021. Now, I hung around for quite some time at the end of the night to get him coming out, and it was quite dark. But I did manage to get this delightful, beaming smile, and one not too dissimilar to this one, my last pic of him in 2023. And the saddest moment? Definitely Russia 2021. He went from jubilant on Saturday after snaring pole to distraught on Sunday after giving up a race-winning lead. How did it happen? Well, he didn't come in when it started to rain a few laps from the end of the race, and unfortunately he aquaplaned off the track at turn 5, giving up the lead.
Oh my god, this was sad day. He could have won.
To Lewis Hamilton. I remember watching him from the main grandstand opposite Parc Ferme as he came back, and he sat in his car for a very long time. George came over to console him, but by that stage the damage was done. he was crushed. But he did have the grace, though, to go and congratulate Lewis Hamilton before he went to get weighed. At the time, I thought that showed great strength and maturity.
I mean, yeah. As long as he has the helmet, he can do whatever, but remove the helmet and let's see what he will have look like. How happy or how he... I mean... Because you go up to someone and shake their hands doesn't mean that you respect them in any way. It could be like the most hated handshake ever.
I see some comments on social media from people who perhaps don't understand Lando, don't work closely with him, and they say he's arrogant and cocky. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with being cocky if you've got the goods to back it up, but I've not ever seen arrogant when it comes to Lando Norris. And one final thing before I leave you, Team Quadrant. This is a passion of Lando's. Effectively, it's a gaming and lifestyle brand which is focused on entertaining fans and building one of the biggest communities through gaming, content, and esports. Now, a lot of you will know what that means, and if you don't, you're probably with me. I was just about finished with the editing of this video, and I wake up to news that Lando Norris has extended his contract with McLaren, clearly enjoying his time there. And I think for all those Lando fans, that will be welcomed news. And at this point, can I ask one favour? Yeah? Could you please hit the like button?
No.
If you've enjoyed the video, that is. And subscribe, or become a member if you'd like to support the channel. These are available at KymIllman.com. Sensational book. In fact, there's a book on every single driver. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. I was there when this fresh-faced Brit... F***ing hell, that's hard. Oh, f*** off. I haven't even got that microphone anywhere near me.
Nice. Bow. Go away, Ad. Just the last... What can you call this? A swim around? No, it looked like a white fish. It wasn't. It was a white and yellow fish. Unlucky. The daily... swim. The daily swimming around the base to find maybe a new... fish to keep and some zombies to slay. Oh, some copper. Is that a new fish? It is! Blue and purple. We call that a success. We got one new fish. It's, I guess, this must maybe have come up when the temple came up in the water. So the fish isn't new, but me having the fish is new for me. One more fish to add to the nice collection. Let's see, what should I do tomorrow? Or whenever I care to do anything in Minecraft. Now this is done now. So maybe just keep I mean, I guess I will just keep removing the stone and fixing, so this side will also be good. Then yeah, we do that wall or that area, the middle part, and then we have this area. So first, second, third area, then we have fourth area. And then maybe one day needs to be fix some wolves, because apparently some new wolves skins or variants, maybe dog variants you can call them, will come out. Animal ground? No. Oh, that I could do. You can run to my LR. Collect some more pumpkins and melons, and then we can end it with a full stomach with food. And that I should also do. Remove the torches in some places so I can reuse the torches. Oh, that I should also do. Look how the foxes are doing. Are they dying out or are they surviving? Look, a lot of that look good enough. So now we can just run back and place us where we should be. Yeah, we can end it. Okay, and we will see tomorrow if any more fun stuff will happen. Any more fun videos to watch. Or if anything else will happen. But I will see tomorrow.